check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey, I'm Aaron.
Hey, I'm John, and this is Pastors and Pizza.
I'm Josh, and this is Pastors and Pizza.
A podcast where three very unqualified
pastors consume some of the best
and worst
pizzas
Western Washington has to offer,
While
while trying to make sense of our faith.
figure out how it
connects to the world around us.
We believe the best conversations happen over food.
So pull up a chair, grab a slice,
Pour a cold one.
And come along with us,
wherever it is we are going.
wherever it is we're going. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pastors and Pizza. This is our second episode, and we are here together eating a Rico's pizza.
Rico's Pizza from Gold Bar, Washington, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Gold Bar.
Gold bar.
Last week, we hit up Sahara Pizza, which is right here in Sultan, Washington, and that's where we are from. And this week, we have branched all the way out to Gold Bar to hit up Rico's Pizza, which is really an establishment in this town or in this region, the Skycomish River Valley. And it's been here, I mean, as long as I've been here. I don't know how long.
It's a little less than you being here, so I'd say probably 7 years or so.
Okay, all right. It's not too old then. But you'll recognize Rico's because it has the giant Italian man statue right out in front of the establishment.
Mamma mia!
Yeah. I don't know what you call that guy. He's like Chef Boyardee or something out there. But if you are driving down Highway 2 and you see the statue of an Italian chef with the hat and the mustache and the whole get up, that's what you're looking for. That's Rico's Pizza, and it's been around. It's probably the main competition to Sahara Pizza, I would say, in the Sky Valley.
Probably.
Yeah.
At least currently.
Because they're the only other one that delivers in Sultan.
That's true. There's nobody from Monroe that will deliver to Sultan, even though they're basically the same distance apart. But I digress. Anyway, so we are here to bring you our reviews on this pizza. And John, you want to share with us a little bit what kind of pizza did we get from Rico's and what's on that?
So I've never had Rico's Pizza before, right? And so this is the first time. And their menu is actually pretty diverse. They've got a lot of options. And we went with the Mexican pizza, which, let me see if I can get all this right. We've got it's a tomato-based sauce, but apparently they call it a secret sauce, and it's got tapatio mixed in there, is what we've been told.
It's something like, it's a secret though.
Secret. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
We've got jalapenos on here. We've got some beans. We've got tomato, bacon, onions. What else we got on here, guys?
I think that's about it.
About it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
But it's a real good pizza. I've had Rico's a couple times before, and I'm gonna be honest about the pizza here. Is I feel like Rico's pizza all has kind of a similar flavor. I know certain pizza places do that, and like maybe it's the crust or the sauce or whatever it might be. But I've had probably 3 or 4 of the different types of Rico pizzas, and they've been pretty similar in their in just the way they taste, but. I can't say I don't like them. I think they're great pizzas.
Yeah, I like it. Actually, I think it's good. I've only had it a couple of times, not this particular one, but Rico's. And so, I mean, we'll get to ranking, but yeah, it does taste a little bit similar, especially with the tomatoes on there. They like to put tomatoes on their pizzas, unless obviously you buy one without it.
And one thing we can't really ignore is if you look at the Rico's menu, every single pizza is affiliated with like a country. So you have like the Greek pizza, or we have the Mexican pizza, and I think there's like a Portuguese pizza on there, and there's the African pizza, which Africa, not a country, but
good point.
Also, we're not really entirely sure how these align, because there's an American pizza on there, and it is completely filled with Italian sausage, Canadian bacon. I'm wondering, this has to be a joke, right? Like, I don't know. Like,
I think like you were talking about, it's that America is a melting pot, Josh.
It's the melting pot.
Those are the things Americans like on their pizza.
It's a melting pot pizza. That's really an interesting way to look at it. Aaron, you mentioned the rankings, and so just as a reminder, we are using a 1 to 5 pepperoni scale for the pizzas, and we are judging based on crust and on sauce and cheese and toppings ratio, as well as value, charisma, and then we're going to give it a total rating. And this comes from the Seattle Pizza Coalition, so we're keeping it local, and they do a 1 to 5 scale. We just put the pepperonis on there because what's pizza without pepperonis? Even though this pizza does not have pepperonis,
It does have bacon though, as John
does
mentioned,
have bacon. That is for sure.
which was different for my Mexican experiences.
Yeah, not a lot of bacon in the Mexican food I've had.
I mean, there's definitely pork and all that, but this was different, and I liked it.
Go for it. After we've had a couple minutes here to kind of chew on this,
I see what you did there.
see that? Yeah. We're gonna go around, just kind of do a real quick hit and let us know crust, sauce, cheese, toppings, value, all this. How many pepperonis you giving that, and then we'll give it a total rating as we come back around.
I was a little surprised about the crust. I thought, looking at it, that it looked, honestly, no offense, Rico, but it looked like a frozen pizza crust, but it tasted a lot better. I would give it 3.5 pepperonis for me. The toppings, I thought were great together. I was not looking forward to the whole beans, but that went well. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a 3.5 as well. I'd say the sauce was kind of more like a 3 for me. I didn't really taste the secret in there as much. I'd probably add more.
Taste the secret.
Tapatio.
I feel like that's their new like tagline.
You're welcome. I'll
Taste
give you
the
that.
secret.
You can have it. By the way, as far as drinking, we had some beers last time. We're having water. 2 of us are having water, and 1 of us is having brown water, otherwise known as Diet Coke. That would be John. There you go. Okay.
It's good.
Sorry. So back to it. Let me say, what's the other ones, Josh? I think I'm missing it.
Crust, cheese,
The
toppings.
the cheese was good. I think I'd like it a little more crispy. The cheese seemed like
AKA burned.
yeah, I like it. I think we've already established that. My mom said it was because she burned stuff when I was growing up. Whatever. Thanks, Mom. I love you. I didn't starve. And then the ambiance of the place,
Charisma.
the
The
charisma
charisma.
of the pizza.
Yeah, pizza place. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the place was nice. These guys were working hard in there. I probably wouldn't necessarily say, wow, that's one of the coolest places ever. I didn't get to look at the cleanliness and all that, but it was a good place. These guys were great. Overall, I'm going to give that also 3.5 pepperonis, and I think I'm missing one more.
Value is what we missed.
Oh, yeah, the value. So it was $20, and there was a tip involved. So I would say the actual value of it, I thought it was good value. I want to give that maybe even a 4. I thought it was worth $20.
Yeah, for me, if I'm going crust, I'm thinking. I mean, I liked it. It's a little crunchy and a little bit soft, and at the same time, so I kind of like that. And so crust is probably, I don't know, 2.5. I say I like it and I give it a 2.5, but
Seriously, I'm like, what?
but I mean, it's not like super impressive, but it is good. And so I don't know. I struggle here because I don't want to give everything a 3. I feel like I'm just gonna be like 3, 3, 3.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean,
It's all right.
It is. It's all right. No, it's
That's a harken back to the John Merwin scale.
it's good. So 2.5. It's solid. I don't know. And then the cheese. I like the cheese. There's a lot of cheese on this pizza, and I kind of like that because I like cheese. But
I love cheese.
It is. So I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give that a 4 on this pizza. I like the cheese on this pizza.
right.
As far as toppings go, I'm a big fan of throwing a bunch of toppings on there, and so I like the bacon and the way that it mixes up with the beans and stuff and the tomato. I think it's really great. And the jalapeno and the special sauce give it a nice spice,
That's
which
a
is good.
secret sauce.
Secret special sauce. Secret special.
Double secret probation sauce.
Yeah, it's good. Then as far as value, yeah, I agree. I think it's a good pizza for the value. Like, Julie and I like to get it on occasion, and like if we're going through Gold Bar or something, and we're like, yeah, there's Rico's. We go stop by and get Rico's. And so we've actually eaten in there a couple times, and I will say, that the ambiance in there actually isn't too bad, and they've redone the inside. And so it used to be a lot smaller and actually kind of darker, but now it's a little more open and just kind of a nice place to, if you're stuck in traffic, which a lot of people are on Highway 2. It's a good place to stop in and get some pizza if you're hungry. So
how many pepperonis?
I'm giving that. I'm just gonna give that a 3, just right around. My overall rating for the pizza probably gonna be 3.5, probably like you. I like it a little better than Sahara, and maybe that's just because I have Sahara more frequently. But I like it a little better than Sahara.
Right on, John.
Nice. So yeah, like I said before, it's my first Rico's experience. So I've not had any of their other pizzas, have not eaten there, so I don't know what it's like inside. But I would say crust, like Aaron said, kind of first initial reaction looks a little bit like a frozen pizza. It was good. The flavor was good, but it wasn't quite like thin crust New York style, but it also wasn't like a normal substantial kind of a crust. It was kind of in between. So I'm going to give the crust about 2.5. The cheese, like Josh said, was really good. I'm going to give that 3.5. Sauce was a little bit underwhelming. Not a lot of sauce on there. Didn't really get the special or secret part of it with the Tapatio. Wasn't really there for me. That's 2.5. Toppings are pretty good. I don't know if it's just my pieces. A little too much on the bean side, I think, for me. The jalapenos were good. The tomatoes were good. Would have maybe preferred a little more bacon because who wouldn't want more bacon?
Tell that truth.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3. That was pretty good. And I don't really know how to rate charisma on a pizza, so I think I'll just skip that one altogether. Value, to me, was pretty much exactly the same as Sahara, which is what we did last time. And I think we all made comments that we wouldn't make a living out of eating that pizza because it's kind of expensive. This was a 14-inch pizza, which I'm not sure we mentioned before.
True.
For around $20-ish. Not horrible, but not exactly inexpensive. So,
I mean, compared to like one of the, what would you say, like national brands of.
Well, yeah, you're not getting the value of maybe
You're
like the
large
Noid or whatever, but yeah. So I would give it probably a 3. It's not horrible, not great. So right in the middle there. Overall, I think it is a step up from the Sahara pizza that we had. Can we give quarter pepperonis? Because I'm not sure I want to go.
You can do whatever you
half
want.
Pepperoni. I'm gonna go 3.25 pepperonis on the overall.
All right.
So a notch, just a tiny notch above the Sahara pizza.
So I'm going to just give a quick shout out to one of our listeners, Cameron Samick, has said, maybe we should do like a running total and see at the end of whatever this ends up being, whose was the overall champion. And so right now you're saying, John, that this is ahead of your experience with Sahara.
Oh yeah, we haven't been super mathematically involved in our ratings here, but I would probably do some sort of a weighted average if we're going to get super technical, because some components
we're just talking pizza, bro.
Some components are more important than other components, so you got to weight them differently. Okay. But without getting super technical, I would say yes.
Like a true accountant.
My pizza leaderboard has this pizza in first place out of the 2 pizzas that we've had so far.
How about you,
All
Josh?
right. Yeah, I mean, I think what did we say last week with the Sahara was around a 3, right? I think we landed pretty solidly that it was a pretty average middle of the road pizza, and I think we've all kind of agreed today that it's just a step above that. So like, I don't know what's between 3.25 and 3.5, like 3.3. We're looking at like 3 1/3.
Holy smokes! Okay,
something like that. Like we're really breaking these pepperonis down now. So
I'd have to go back and listen. And any of you listeners could just reach out and tell us, oh, wait, this is being recorded.
I'm pretty sure, Aaron, you gave it a 3.5 last time.
So that's what I'm saying. I think I'm tied. My leaderboard's tied because I don't.
But does that feel right to you right now? Or is that just what you ended up accidentally doing?
No, it feels right.
Okay.
I was thinking, I actually liked the pizza from Sahara's. I would say it's tied. The beans for me were weird to have that on the pizza, but it was kind of an ambiance thing. So I'm all right. So there it is. That's our overall looking at it. We've got a running total of 2 pizza
compared
places
to
right
a
now.
Taco Bell Mexican pizza.
Oh gosh,
How do you rank this one?
way to bring it down a notch, man.
Not sure I've had that.
Oh, that is a shame. The refried beans and then like the olives and the whole bit. Yeah,
I have had that. I would have
Isn't that
to
kind
go.
of a tostada?
It really is, but they called it a Mexican pizza because
Know your audience.
America.
Oh, got it. Okay. I'm going to give this probably a step above the Taco Bell version.
Even though you've never had it,
Even though I'm just assuming. I don't know.
this is for me probably 2 steps above the Taco Bell.
Say what you want.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is not.
I agree with you on a like, I don't know, what would you say, like a.
Principle.
Yeah, just on
Philosophical
on principle.
basis.
Yeah, on a philosophical basis, on just kind of a really practical, like, is it better? Yeah, sure, it's better. Like, it's better food. But there's like a nostalgia factor. Like, you got to take that in, you know? Like, that's like 4.5 nostalgia pepperonis right there.
I do have a lot more nostalgia with Taco Bell than Rico's, considering
real.
this was my first Rico's experience.
Yeah.
Indeed. And I mean, let's just be honest. Rico's is a pizza joint. Taco Bell is not. But Taco Bell is Mexican food, right? So,
And commonly combined with joints.
oh, yes, sir. The dad jokes. Are
Welcome to
flowing.
Washington.
That's impressive, John. That a boy.
All right, well, we're going to come back at you here in just a few minutes. We're going to give you a little break, and we will be right back.
Chillin', gotta save me from a villain. Gotta settle what about him, man. However could I doubt him this far? I'm way too deep in his love. Lay on the sand, I just gotta sink my feet in his love. In the footprints of life, I'll follow you all my days. I'm seeking to know you more. I wanna know all your ways, cause really you on my mind every night and every day. And I just wanted to say, I really wanted to say I'm in the ocean.
Taco Bell made an appearance.
Not sure how we got onto Taco Bell, but
Because Mexican pizza, it's the Mexican pizza. That's the first time I ever heard about pizza was
see the problem
about a
is
Mexican pizza was
to
at Taco
really
Bell.
rank pizzas. You gotta have kind of a similar pizza, otherwise you're ranking totally different things.
You're making experiences, though, right?
Rankings are all subjective.
It's like when people ask me about my favorite movie. It's like, well, in what category?
Every year they do like a ranking of like the top albums or the top movies or the top whatever of the year, and you're like, based on what criteria?
Right. You can't. Yeah,
What
you
are you
can't
gonna
compare some things. They're both movies, but they're totally different movies. They accomplish different things.
What about favorite children, John?
Oh, I've got those. Just depends on.
That's easy.
That's
Easy criteria.
That's moment to moment.
Do they serve me? What do they serve me? How often do they serve me?
Put it on wax, bro.
All right. Well, welcome back. We are back here at Pastors and Pizza, the podcast where 3 pastors share their love for pizza and judge local pizza places.
Because if there's one thing Christians, pastors are really good at,
It's judging.
Oh, touche.
It's too soon. It's too true.
Too soon to
Yeah,
be
too
true.
soon. It's always too soon.
True.
So to remind you, we want to integrate our faith into real life. These are real people having real conversations. So there you go.
You guys, I haven't seen you guys. Last week was kind of a crazy week for me, and I haven't seen you guys in a week or two. And so, how's life going? What's been happening in your world? I know we were just talking kind of off air here that John's boy is coming home, and when we say John's boy, we mean his son. That's JD.
Our podcast is global, you guys. We had one listener from South Africa this last time. Oh wait, that was my son.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
That would be the aforementioned boy.
Yeah. He's coming home. 11 months out in the world, and he's coming home this month. So that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, how you feeling about that, John?
I feel excited about it. I'm not sure how excited he is about it. I know he's obviously enjoyed his time away, but he's going to have a bit of a transition coming home.
No kidding.
Trying to figure out what's next after being gone for 11 months, traveling around, being with a group of people for that long, and now coming home and being with the fam and being in close quarters and having to figure out what to do next is going to be a bit of a transition. But we're excited to have him. So
It's culture shock, but he's been in a lot of different cultures, but this is the one he grew up in, and he's been seeing some things. If you all follow his blog, which, John, will you shout that out really quick?
Oh gosh, it's on the world race. I couldn't tell you the exact thing on there, but I frequently will share it when he posts. So you can just follow me on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Nice.
Do we have those?
We can have show notes.
Oh, sweet. All right.
That'll work. But yeah, he's talked a lot about how his heart's been being changed and what he would like to do differently and all that. And he's going to get a chance when he comes back. But there'll be lots of prayers. I've already been praying a ton for him, but definitely for all of you guys, that's an adjustment. And he's going to encourage you and challenge you. And that was prayed for this week by Zach Borden, which was really cool.
Yeah, the biggest adjustment may be for my girls who currently have their own room, and that will be ending as they go back into the same room when he comes home. So that could be an adjustment.
For teenage girls, that's got to be super easy.
Yeah, they'll have no problems.
Okay.
For real. Aaron,
Yes, sir.
what you been up to?
Gosh, man. Really trying and it's a little bit of a volleyball because, again, we were talking off air, and my bride, Kathy, and I were invited to go to a self-care retreat that was super intense, which seems almost oxymoronic, but it was an intensive and that there was a lot of information shared. And so I've been really trying to be more mindful and more present with my family. And my wife reminded me last night as we were playing a game, do you want me to take your phone? And I was like texting one of our children at that point. But
You guys played that game too?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love that
I
game.
lose that game on the regular. Although, don't I really win because she's trying to keep me present? And that was really cool for me.
Maybe it doesn't feel like a win at the moment.
No, but self-care doesn't always feel like that either. And so just learning how to take care of myself and learning how to slow down a bit. Today, as we record this, it's the first Monday of the month. And I was reminded that we had made a commitment as a pastoral staff to take the first Monday of the month off and focus on Jesus and really have some time with God. And I have gotten away from that a little bit and haven't given it a full day really for a while. And so today was a challenge in that way, but I found myself listening to some podcasts. I found myself really engaging in some time with the Lord. I cried watching a clip of Passion of the Christ and just remembering that Jesus really loves us. And so slowing down to spend time with him, what a rad gift. And so I'm learning how to do that again, and I hope to pass that on to my kids and anybody who wants to join me in that. How about you, Josh?
Oh man, it's my life's crazy right now. For those who don't know, I am currently in a master's program to get a master's in teaching, and so I am going to grad school. I am working full time here at the church. I am also working up at Salton Middle School with Pete Reilly as a mentor teacher, and it's been just insane. My life has been no end, burning the candle at both ends
and in the middle.
Is that what they say?
That's what they say. Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get this wrong. I'm gonna say like
You got it, though.
burning the oil at both ends. That's not a thing.
It's got to be your bowl.
Yeah, that's right. It totally does. So it's been, man, just crazy for me. I'm getting like no sleep, but I was able to get some time last night to hang out, and I'd been kind of earmarking the Sunday night because, which was yesterday that we're recording this on Monday, November 1st. But yesterday was Halloween, and I've been kind of earmarking that date because my daughter Juniel just loves going out and trick or treating, and so I was like, I got to take some time and just spend with them, going around and having some fun. And she was super overwhelmed by all the people downtown at the trunk or treat, but we, pushed through and it was good. And she had a great time. We got home and she just was like, she's so into like just talking about it all the whole time.
So cool.
And so, but it's been really good. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm just, you talk about self-care, and man, I am not in a season of my life where self-care is a thing that seems like a possibility. It's like every moment of every day I am doing something, whether it's homework or work or schoolwork or, working to just be there for my kids or take care of them. And so, man, it's like I'm just looking for like even the tiniest windows of time where I can be like, yeah, there's a moment where I can rest, or there's a moment where I can kind of, find some relief or some just respite from the world. And so it's cool. I mean, I recognize how important that is. And especially when you're in it like this, you really are like, man, I really could use that. I know for a lot of people, that's kind of how they feel like their whole life has been like, man, I have no time to give to myself because I'm always given to my family, or I'm always given to, my job or my, whatever it might be, my community. And I'm just in a weird season right now. And I know that that's not always how I've been, but that's how I am now. So.
But it's hard. I'll say this, there's a lot that we joke about with pastors, and there's a lot that we talked about last time that pastors get put on pedestals or they constantly are taking shots, but that sounds like taking like alcohol shots, although some do. But that's self-medicating. That's not self-care. It's difficult to take care of yourself. And it's difficult because it's been considered weak. It's been considered, if you're serving God, then everything should be totally fine. And that's not always it. And, we could probably get into some really deep stuff on this, and we probably should. But even part of what you're doing, Josh, is to try to take care of yourself and to kind of do some things a little bit differently for your life. And yet it's not going to kill you to get there, but it's pretty squashing you right now, man. And so ironically, self-care is so desperately needed right now for you. Well, for all of us. But I'll definitely be praying with you and for you on that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Have been, but just even hanging out with you guys is a part of self-care, and just being able to hang out and have pizza. It's not self-serving, although nobody put the food in my mouth, so technically it was self-serving in that way. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. And John, this will kind of go to you, like what's going on for you and how have you been doing? But what do you guys do to take care of yourselves, to make sure that you're breathing, that you're keeping focused? What do you do to let down? What do you do to refocus on Jesus? And so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, well, I think you you mentioned a couple times there, Aaron, that intentionality is super important, because unlike Josh, I'm in a season right now where I've really actually got lots of free time. My kids are older. They're, a couple of them have graduated high school, and like we mentioned, JD's gone. Abby's working and going to school, and Hallie's doing Running Start, and they're pretty self-sufficient and independent. And I work a kind of different schedule than my wife does, and so I find myself with quite a bit of free time, and it's easy for me to just kind of veg out, which is not necessarily self-care. I think it's good to have time to just kind of decompress and to relax, and that can be good, but it's not necessarily self-care. And so I think that intentionality is important. And so I have to actually find myself fighting against kind of laziness or just comfort or just that veg state of just putting on some stupid TV show or putting on a game and scrolling Twitter all night, which, is probably not good self-care, because I end up getting frustrated with things like, University of Washington football, that kind of thing.
Really frustrating right now.
Yeah, so I've got to be intentional about taking some time. I don't really like to read, but I find that when I read, it actually feeds me. It's something that I learned. I don't like to read for entertainment, because I don't like to read, and so it's not entertaining. Right. And so I'll read to grow, and so that's something that I do. You mentioned earlier the first Monday that we try to do as a staff, and just have that intentional time to get away from the work week and focus on Jesus, get into the Word, and do that. And so those are some of the things I do. I do intentionally go to movies. I do some of those kinds of things, which make me think, help me to relax, give me some time to just be on my own. So I think that can be good, but I think you also have to be careful that it's not just, I mean, you mentioned medicating with shots, but all of these things can be a form of medication, really.
They really
or
can.
returning to something else when we really should be turning to God. And so there's kind of this fine line there. So,
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, when I am on my game and I'm able to find some time, and I think maybe it's some of the healthiest moments of my life. There have been a few things that have been important for me as far as self-care goes, and the first one is like time with my family, time with my wife, my kids, but also like Julie and I, we used to go out hiking like every weekend. We were out all the time. And that was really refreshing just to my spirit and my soul, you know, just being outside with, you know, my wife and enjoying her company, and also being like in the presence of like amazing creation, and
totally.
just really refreshing for me. And that's honestly been one of the biggest things since having kids that's been hard, has been not having the availability to do that. Because it's like, I mean, you can't, when you got kids who need naps and all kinds of things, it's like getting out to spend 5 hours on a hike is not something that is like, you just don't have that time. And so trying to like reshape my mind and find other avenues of expression or of, you know, self-care that really revitalized me has been kind of hard and kind of, you know, something to just try and figure out. But like, I love music and I love listening to music, and it can really, music is kind of like a double-edged sword for me, because it can really, like revitalize me and lift me up, and music can really bring me down depending on like what I'm listening to and really the time, that I listen to it and what's going on around me. And, but yeah, I love music, and I really, it's like maybe the thing that's been the closest to my heart in so many ways, like throughout my whole life. In almost every phase of my life music has had a prominent piece. And so, yeah, that for me is, it's a huge way that I take care of myself, is by just being in music and stories, whether that's, through, reading novels or, you know, whatever it might be, books, or just watching movies. I love movies and the art of movies and the stories of movies and characters and the different things they go through and obstacles they overcome or that they don't overcome. And so I don't know, I just love those kind of things, and they speak to me and they bring like kind of freshness to me. And one that I really have neglected is really like physical activity. Like I used to go to the gym like all the time. I was at Thrive all the time, and I just have not been able to find the time to go to the gym, and that's been a big challenge for me, and something where I've felt the more than just feeling like I'm not able to take care of myself. It feels like I'm actively neglecting myself, which is really a kind of a difficult like spin to look on it, and so that feels kind of difficult sometimes. But yeah, it's just that thing, man. And for all you have kids out there, like nobody can ever tell you how much a kid is going to change your life in that kind of way, you know, where you don't recognize all the hours that you're going to put into it and the hours that you're not going to have anymore, or just the opportunities, because everything is on the fringes now. You're constantly going from one thing to the next, and you're constantly responsible for someone else that you weren't before. And
that's right.
And so it changes the game, and it really makes self-care, I think, so much more difficult and maybe more necessary, but just it's really, really difficult.
So for those that maybe don't understand, how do we want to define self-care? Like what do we mean when we say self-care? Because that could obviously mean something different for everybody. What do we want to come up with a definition for that?
Back to the word intentional again. It's being intentionally healthy. So we're holistic people. God made us mind, body, heart, and soul. And so to the point of what we've talked about already, and Josh, you said really well, it's the feeding of your soul. It's the feeding of your mind. It's the feeding of your heart. It's the feeding of your body. And that's hard to do. And not just feeding like we ate tonight. Wonderful. Thank you again, Ricos. But I think that idea of feeding also means weeding things out and being intentional. And so that for me is more of where self-care has come in. And just a really quick point before I forget it, Josh, we've been blessed by you with music. God has used music through you. When you are really feeding your soul in that way, you're blessed to be a blessing. And I think there's a message for me in that. And I just thought I would share that with everybody else as well.
Thanks, man.
You got it. What about you, Josh? What do you think about self-care?
Like as far as a definition, if we're talking like, and maybe just like how as a Christian do you practice self-care? Because I think some people can think of it, like you said, like it's a selfish thing. Like it's something that, we shouldn't do because it's going to lead to, just constant indulging or whatever.
Sure.
But I think of it, I'm like, I look for an example. Like, okay, well, give me something that I can look to. Like, what can I see about what self-care looks like? And I think about Jesus, and I think about him going away all the time. Like, like sneaking away to have time where he's in prayer, where he's, with his Father, where he is just able to get away from the crowds and away from his group of guys. And just be praying and be with in the scriptures or whatever it might be. And so I think of that and I'm like, man, that is kind of like, that's like for me like the standard of health, right? Is somebody who's able to recognize the situation they're in, to get out of that and to spend some time in with the one who's refueling him, really.
That's good.
And so that's like that for me is probably the definition of it, really. Like or at least like the standard of it. Yeah, we talk about all these things that we do physically, or with media, or things that we just love, and those are truly life-giving and fulfilling because God's given them to us to enjoy. But also the nature of being in His presence and being just moved by Him, or by His Word, or whatever. It's just, I think that's something that maybe we still kind of put on the fringes of like what's going to give us life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. I would say this really quick about Jesus on that one night, right? He showed up to, I think it was Peter's house, or at least his mother-in-law's house, and he heals her, and everybody finds out about it, and they come there to the house, and they're there till late at night, and everybody showed up, and then he goes to bed late, gets up before everybody else, connects with his Father, then hears these like marching orders, like go to the other cities as well. One of the guys that was at this intensive said, if that's your standard, you're going to kill yourself actually, to burn the candle at all the different ends in the middle and then get up really early and go spend time with the Lord. He's like, not saying don't spend time with God. He's saying, remember, you're limited and there's a reason. Like God had intentionality, speaking of that word, right? For that. And so he's our standard, but he showed us like, let's get away, right? You've got to take time to get away. So there's Sabbath, there's time daily that you need to connect with God from a Sabbath time, but literally back to the 6 days a week maximum working, and that's hard for a lot of people in America to even get to. But John, what do you think about self-care? How would you actually define that?
I think those are good definitions, good discussion. I think we need to focus. We did a series several years ago now called Full Cup Living, and there's kind of this idea that we talk about often as pastors, as church leaders, of being filled up so you can pour out. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's important as we define self-care, because I think there's in our society, there's a lot of, and I think it's even becoming more and more popular, this idea of me time. I need to have time to get away and do these, and those can be good things, and you should have me time and you should have time to get away. But I think if you're not doing it with the mindset of filling up,
amen, so
you can then pour out into other people, into relationships, into your kids, into your spouse, into friends, and those kinds of things, then I think you lose sight of what it really is, because then it does, I think, maybe just become more selfish. And again, some of those things aren't bad in and of themselves. I mean, most things that people struggle with aren't bad on their own, right? They're become bad because we misuse them. And so I think if you're going to define self-care, I think you need to have this idea that you're filling up, right? You're getting away, you're re-energizing, you're getting out into nature, you're getting exercise, or you're reading, or you're whatever it is that fills you up. I think your focus needs to be, what are you filling up on?
That's
and
right.
I think a lot of times, like I said, for me, my tendency is just to kind of veg out, and it's me time. It's time for me to just kind of do what I want, but it's not filling me up really. And I mentioned kind of jokingly about Twitter and some of this. I mean, a lot of us these days go on Facebook or go on social media or go watch the news or whatever, and it's maybe me time. It's time where we can kind of get down, but it actually is making us angry. It's making us frustrated. It's making us
Wow, that's a good
covet.
point.
It's
Scroll
making
life,
us,
yeah,
it's doing these other things that are not filling to us. And so I think you need to be careful that we're doing things that are genuinely filling us up, because that's what it's going to take to actually then invest into relationship and
That's
to
really good,
care for
man.
people.
I would remind everybody, and this is really fresh in my mind because of spending time today with Jesus, but talking about his gentleness yesterday at church and looking at the fact that that is fruit of his spirit. Man, come to Jesus. Literally come to him. Like, come to him the way you are. He's not there to wag his finger at you. He's not there to deny you. He doesn't have a sour and angry disposition. He literally said that he is like gentle and lowly, humble and gentle at heart. And he wants time with you. I mean, that's what he came for, you guys. And so the one that made time wants to spend time with you. You don't have to learn Greek to spend time with him. You don't have to memorize whole chapters or even whole verses. Just come to him, talk to him, listen to him. How do you listen to him? Maybe it's music, like Josh was talking about. Maybe it's verses, listening to the Bible. Maybe it's just being still, going on a walk or a hike or whatever your body would allow. But really coming to this one that's crazy about you and made you and gave you lots of really cool stuff. So that would be what I'd say. John, you look like you might have something.
Well, so I mean, it's been a rough year and a half, 2 years for basically all of us, right? I mean, global pandemic, lots of fighting, lots of just frustration and anger and isolation, and teachers are overwhelmed, and nurses are overwhelmed, and pastors are overwhelmed, and people are overwhelmed. And so it's been a tough time. And so the encouragement is definitely try to figure out a way to take time for self-care, to make sure that you're getting away and getting refocused and getting energized, getting filled up. Amen. But as Aaron mentioned, his sermon yesterday, we talked about gentleness, and he in his sermon referenced a book called Gentle and Lowly.
So good.
And we have copies of that available. So if you're here locally, we'd love to give you a copy. Even if you're not local and you want us to send you a copy, we can send you a copy.
I love it. Absolutely.
So reach out to us, let us know. But just give you a little idea of what this is about. So this book is written, this is a quote from the introduction here. The book is written for the discouraged, the frustrated, the weary, the disenchanted, the cynical, the empty, those running on fumes, those whose Christian lives feel like constantly running up a descending escalator. Those of us who find ourselves thinking, how could I mess up that bad again? It is for the increasing suspicion that God's patience with us is wearing thin. For those of us who know God loves us but suspect we have deeply disappointed him, who have told others of the love of Christ, yet wonder if, as for us, he harbors mild resentment, who wonder if we have shipwrecked our lives beyond what can be repaired, who are convinced we've permanently diminished our usefulness to the Lord, who have been swept off our feet by perplexing pain and are wondering how we can keep living under such numbing darkness. We look at our lives and know how to interpret the data only by concluding that God is fundamentally parsimonious. So if any of those are kind of where you're at and how you're feeling, I definitely recommend this book. I'm about 3/4 of the way through. It's been a great read. Short chapters, which are always good for me, keeping my attention.
No, I was about to brag that I'm 4 chapters in, and then I realized they're short chapters.
Yeah. So let us know if you want that, but I definitely encourage you to make some time to recharge and not just veg out, not just escape, but to actually fill up.
That's good, man.
It's been good being with you guys. I'm feeling good. I really appreciate this conversation. It's really it's a spot where I'm in right now, where I've got to look at and figure out like how am I going to manage this, because it's a lot to deal with, and though it's a short season, it's really it's less than a year or whatever, but it's still one of those heavy seasons.
It's intense, man.
Gotta bear on up. But anyway, man, I really appreciate the conversation. It's been good being with you. And
Can I pray real quick,
yeah,
dude?
I would love
Just
that.
super quick. Father, we thank you for your love. Thank you that you've made us. Thank you that you want us. Thank you, Jesus, that you want to give us rest for our souls. May we come to you as John and Josh and I have been looking at, talking about, and recognizing. And may others do that. We pray for whoever's listening, Lord, to remember that you love them so much that you gave your life for them. God, I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, well, we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
This has been Pastors and Pizza, a production of Crosswater Community Church in Sultan, Washington.
Check us out online at crosswaterchurch.org.
We meet every Sunday morning at 9 and 10:45 on the corner of 3rd and Birch in Sultan.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to leave us that 5-star review, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Adios.